in our third story on the countdown, Levi Johnston has seen Sarah Palin's Oprah-prompted invitation to Thanksgiving dinner and says, quote, "You could tell by her laugh that she was full of it." Meantime, Rush Limbaugh calls Palin's book, quote, "truly one of the most substantive policy books I've read," end quote. Rush, I believe you. I cannot imagine you in full recline on your Gulfstream, Cuban cigar in hand, struggling to get through a more substantive policy book than Sarah's index and footnote-free, score-settling campaign memoir. No mind-numbing charts or graphs, no big words, no scholarly Latin phrases like caveat emptor. And I'll bet the pictures are like amazing. The previously released clips from Palin's interview with Oprah Winfrey getting new life now that would-be son-in-law Mr. Johnston has had a chance to see it.
One final question about Levi. Will he be invited to Thanksgiving dinner?
That's a great question, and it's lovely to think that he would ever even consider such a thing, because of course he is a part of the family, and you want to bring him in the fold and kind of under your wing, and he needs that too, Oprah. I think he needs to know that he is loved, and he has the most beautiful child, and this can all work out for good. It really can. We don't have to keep going down this road of controversy and drama all the time. We're not really into the drama. We don't really like that. We're more productive. We have other things to concentrate on and do,
Does that mean yes, he is coming, or no, he's not?
Mr. Johnston, through a Playgirl spokesman, has now responded. Quote, "You could tell by her laugh that she was full of it, and that her invitation was a, quote, nice gesture, but she didn't mean it. And if he went, it would be awkward. You think?" And by the way, on the day that Palin was taping that Oprah interview, Mr. Johnston was at the 2009 Fleshbot Awards, and he was given his very own award for sexy achievements. As for the crowd formerly known as the presidential campaign of Senator John McCain, we are told that McCain has instructed them not to respond to allegations in Palin's book. But some of them have done more than just respond. McCain himself today saying he has the Palin book but has not had a chance yet to read it. And back to Mr. Limbaugh, he says he told Ms. Palin, quote, "People who get hold of this, like the AP or any of the state-controlled media, they're going to focus on the soap opera aspects of your book, and they're going to ignore what is truly one of the most substantive policy books I've read." Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst and author of Renegade, Richard Wolff, also senior strategist at Public Strategies. Good evening, Richard.
Truly, Lawrence. Good evening.
Richard, I want to listen again to part of Sarah Palin's answer to Oprah's Thanksgiving dinner question. Let's listen to that.
Of course, he is a part of the family, and you want to bring him in the fold and kind of under your wing, and he needs that too, Oprah. I think he needs to know that he is loved.
Richard, you want to bring him into the fold. You want to take him under your wing. She can't say, "I want to do that." Was she trying to get Oprah to invite Levi to Thanksgiving dinner?
It's a nice suggestion, but I suspect Oprah is kind of busy, and actually I am too, in case you were suggesting me. But I think there is a bigger picture here, which is that, if you talk to people who were involved in the McCain campaign, Sarah Palin had this weird disembodied reaction to everything that was going on around her. In public, we saw this fabulous TV performer, someone who could give a great speech at the convention. But in private, she was frozen in the headlamps, and it was very difficult to connect reality to her and get her to wake up to her situation. I think in her own mind, there may be a Sarah Palin, the real person, and Sarah Palin, the performer, and maybe the you, we, I thing reflects that. But look, I was speaking to Nicole Wallace, who was accused of coming up with some weird story for why Sarah Palin would go speak to Katie Couric. Couric. According to Palin, Wallace had said that Katie Couric had low self-esteem, and that's why, I guess out of some sympathy, she should do the interview. You know, anyone who knows Nicole Wallace, who was a formidable figure in the 2004 Bush campaign, anyone who knows Katie Couric would recognize that story just doesn't pass the smell test.
You do say that it wasn't your best interview. Did you think that was a seminal defining moment for you, that interview?
I did not, and neither did the campaign. In fact, that is why segment 2 and 3 and 4 and maybe 5 were scheduled. The campaign said, right on, good, you're showing your independence, this is what America needs to see. And it was a good interview, and of course I'm thinking, if you thought that was a good interview, I don't know what a bad interview was, because I knew it wasn't a good interview.
The response from an anonymous former senior McCain campaign official to the Washington Post about that, quote, "No sentient person would look at that and say that." Ouch. Joining us now, the most sentient person with good sources in the McCain camp who will agree to come on this show, Anna Marie Cox, national correspondent and host of Inside Story for Air America Radio. Hi, Anna Marie. Thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here, Rachel. I think there are McCain staffers that might come on your show eventually, by the way, and they are sentient.
We ask all the time, and I will tell you behind the scenes, don't tell anybody, just between you and me. They've been very rational and willing to talk to us about it, but still no yeses. I can't help but think we're getting close, but
you might have to wait a little while. Let's just say until a certain book disappears off the bestseller list.
Okay. Well, how are they overall from your reporting? Can you characterize for us overall how McCain campaign folks are feeling about this?
Yeah, I spent some time on the phone today with a few different campaign staffers, McCain campaign staffers, and I think there's sort of 3 general areas of emotion I can say. One is dismay. This is a really unusual book for a lot of reasons. And one of them is that these kinds of books usually don't get written. This kind of campaign score settling doesn't usually happen this soon after a campaign. Emotions like this don't usually get brought out. And then I'd say there is some genuine hurt also among some staffers, and they're just human. And part of it has to do, I think, with the weird personal nature of the attacks that Sarah Palin makes. She makes fun of Steve Schmidt for being, and I quote, rotund. That's like an oddly personal and petty thing to say, and I think it's understandable for people to get upset about that. And then I think the last emotion, which is the most rational of them, is that they can't believe anyone's taking this seriously. And to be honest, I don't think I'm here on your show talking about it, but I'm not taking this book seriously. That accusation about the vetting is so patently false. Just anyone who's done any reporting about campaigns, the idea that a campaign would bill back a possible nominee for vetting is so outrageous. Now, I can't think of a single reporter who probably called the campaign to ask about that or called McCain staffers to ask about that thut it was true.
But then,
and I think that...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just
going to say... Whoa.
You. I pull rank. You go next.
I was just going to say, I think that the other accusations in the book are along those lines. There's just stuff in there that, having known these people and having I don't agree with them on very much, but I know these staffers pretty well, and reading what I've read, the excerpts I've read, I just plain don't believe what Sarah Palin has to say about them.
Anything specifically that, besides the vetting, that sticks out to you is just patently unbelievable based on your reporting and your knowledge about the campaign?
That they would be concerned about her weight in some kind of condescending way seems unrealistic to me. The fact that they would curse in front of her small child seems unrealistic to me. And these are people who I'm pretty sure curse, and I've heard them curse. I curse. I bet you do every once in a while. That most of us who are sentient human beings can control ourselves around children.
Yeah.
And I think that is also just, again, that weirdly specific and weirdly petty thing to say. Rachel, I don't think she's a serious person, Sarah Palin. I think that this book is in some ways not just a source of score settling, not just something of score settling. It portrays an alternate universe.
It will be a huge media juggernaut, though, over the course of the next week. Just purely, if you can tell, just by the attention that the advance excerpts got today, and so
just by the fact that I'm here talking to you about it now,
and everybody else is too. But that's going to put McCain staffers in the position, if there are things in it that are wrong, those things will be taken as true unless McCain staffers come out and say that they're not true. And so even though they want this to go away, they're going to be put in a truth-telling position unless they want her version of the facts to stand.
And I think something that's really unusual is you've already seen Mark Salter, who, very close campaign aide for McCain, very close aide for him for 20 years, has already come out in public and done something he hasn't done before, I think, which is to correct some of the misapprehensions in this book about Nicole Wallace. Steve Schmidt has said some things. I was on the phone. I will say I spoke with him today, and he actually said it would be fine if I said that I spoke to him about some of these accusations and some of the things that he wanted to deny specifically. Although I can also base it again on how I know these people and saw some of these interactions. And just find to have the stuff that she's saying just does not have the ring of truth to me.
Anna Marie Cox, national correspondent and host of Inside Story for Air America Radio. My prediction is that Sarah Palin's reputation is going to be substantively different a week from tonight than it is right now because of what's going to happen with this book. And
I think you're right, and I hope you're right.
Thank you for your time tonight, Anna Marie. Good to see you.
Thank you.
It looks like that whole bombing the moon thing